In this question, we are given the rate of growth of micropopulation, and this is given as an equation, that is m prime of t equals 24t e raised to the power of t, where t represents the time in days, and we have to determine the total accumulated growth in the first 2 days. So let's see how to determine the total accumulated growth. So I write down total accumulated growth. And this equals the definite integral of this the right side expression, that is 24t e raised to the power of 2t dt, and we have to put the limits as, since we want to find the growth within the first 2 days, we put the lower limit as 0 and the upper limit as 2. So we have to determine the value of this determine indefinite integral. I'm sorry, it is a definite integral to determine the total accumulated growth. So let's see how to determine this definite integral. So we have this definite integral 24t e raised to the power of 2t dt, and this is from 0 to 2, and this equals, I can now factor this constant out of this integral. So I put 24 times definite integral 0 to 2 t e power 2t dt. Now we have a product of two different types of function. This t function is algebraic, and this e raised to the power of 2t is an exponential function. So when we have product of two different functions, we can follow the integration by parts method. So we are going to solve this integration by parts method. And in this method, we follow the rule which is called ILATE, and each letter in this ILAT stands for a type of function. This I stands for inverse function. This L represents a logarithmic function, A represents algebraic, T represents a trigonometric function, and E represents exponential function. We follow this rule to choose U in this order. That is, we have to look from left to right uh, of this function. So first we have this inverse function. So we have to look out for any of the inverse function. We don't have any inverse function in this expression t e power 2t, because this t is an algebraic function, and e raised to the power of 2t is an exponential function. So then we move on to the next letter, which is L, which stands for logarithmic. We don't have logarithmic, so we go for the next one, which is A, which stands for algebraic function. So here we have this A, which is algebraic, that is the T is the algebraic function, and this means we can choose this T as U. That is, I put U equals to T, and then rest of the terms, that is including the dt, that is e power 2t dt, we can choose this as v. So I write down this is dv equals e raised to the power of 2t and dt. So let's separate this, because this side we have to differentiate, or we take the differentials, and on this side we have to integrate. So differential of u with respect to u is du, and differential of t with respect to t is dt. And now let's integrate these two sides. So integral of dv, this is v, and then integral of e raised to the power of 2t is e raised to the power of 2t divided by the differential of 2t, that is the derivative of 2t with respect to t is 2, because 2 times of derivative of t is 1, so it's basically 2. So we have to divide by that derivative of 2t. We don't have to put the integration constant here, since it is a definite integral. So we have determined the u as well as v as well as du, which means we can utilize this integration by parts formula, which says that integral of u dv, and this equals uv minus integral of v du. So therefore, for our function, that is for our integral, we have this integral that is 24 times of integral of 0 to 2 t times of e raised to the power of 2t dt. We fixed that this is u and rest of them as dv. So we can use this integration by parts formula, which is in the same form. So I need to put uv first, that is a product of u and v, which I can take it from here. U is t, so I put t here and multiplied with v, which is e raised to the power of 2t divided by 2. Notice that this is a definite integral, so this has to be evaluated within the limits 0 to 2. And we also observe that we have a 24 in front, so let's not forget that. So we put this 24 minus, we put integral, that is we have to evaluate this integral. So this is a different integral, so I put the limit as 0 to 2, and then v du. V is e raised to the power of 2t divided by 2, and du is dt. So I put dt for du. So it's basically we just have to evaluate this integral and simplify. So let's do that. We have 24 in front. Now let's evaluate this. We just have to substitute the upper limit as well as the lower limit. So when I plug in the upper limit, I get that is I plug in 240. So it becomes 2 times of e raised to the power of 2 times of 2. So 2 times of 2 is 4. So I can put this as e raised to the power of 4. And then this divided by 2 minus, we have to integrate this. So we can factor the 1 by 2, and then integration of e raised to the power of 2t is, this is e raised to the power of 2t divided by 2. This one which we have already done it. So I'm just going to plug in the upper and lower limit. Now let's simplify this. So we get 24 times of, we can cancel this 2 with the 2, and then this will become 2 times 2 is 4. So therefore the first term we have e raised to the power of 4 minus 1 fourth e raised to the power of 2t, and this must be evaluated from 0 to 2. I just forgot to tell you here, that is we substituted the upper limit. When we do that, we got this one, but when we substitute this lower limit into this expression, we will get 0 because we have a t in front, so it becomes 0. So I did not put that here, so let's understand that as well. Now let's simplify this. So this equals 24 times e raised to the power of 4 minus 1 fourth, which is a factor. This is multiple, so you can just keep it as it is. And then we have to substitute the upper limit as well as the lower limit. So when you plug in the upper limit in place of t, this becomes 2 times of 2, which is 4. So I get e power 4 minus, now I plug in the lower limit, which is 0 in place of t. So it becomes 2 times of 0 is 0. So it is e raised to the power of 0. This equals 1. So I put 1 here. Now let's simplify. So this equals 24 times, this is e power 4 minus 1 fourth of e power 4. And then this negative 1 4 times negative 1 is positive 1 fourth. These two are like terms, that is e power 4 minus 1 by 4 e power 4. This basically gives, we can just consider that as a fraction. 1 minus 1 by 4 is 3 fourth. So this is basically 3 fourth e raised to the power of 4. So I put this 24, and then inside the bracket we have 3 fourth e raised to the power of 4 plus 1 fourth. Now let's distribute the 24 into the two terms inside the brackets. So we have to distribute. So it becomes 24 times of 3 fourth e raised to the power of 4 plus 24 times of 1 fourth. Let's do some cancellation here. 24 goes into 4 as 6 times. then 24 here. Here also it goes 6 times. So it's basically we have 3 here. 6 times of 3 is 18. So this is 18 e power 4 plus 6. And when we plug this expression into the calculator, we get approximately as 988.7. And when this is rounded to a whole number, we get 989, and this is microbes. So this is the total accumulated growth of the microbes within the first 2 days.